That absolute wave of panic when an email from Google Search Console hits your inbox saying pages aren't being indexed. Your heart just kind of drops and you immediately think your whole digital product site is, well, totally broken. But hey, today in this explainer, we're going to completely flip how we look at that data. We're going to learn how to read the indexing report, not as some kind of punishment, but as a masterclass in spotting crawl patterns. So here's our diagnostic blueprint for today. We'll be covering the static inventory myth, how to spot expected crawl patterns, deciphering server trend lines, diagnosing systemic bot blocks, and finally assessing true content quality. All right. Section 1, the static inventory myth. It's not an inventory. Okay. So the crucial thing here is we have to stop treating the indexing report like this terrifying to-do list that you just have to clear to appease your boss. Instead, we need to use it as a high-level detection tool. For the longest time, the old mindset has just been that every single red mark is an absolute crisis, right? People see hundreds of pages not indexed and think, oh man, I gotta fix this immediately to keep my dashboard green. But this new mindset, it's all about dynamic pattern detection. We're really looking at site health through the lens of movement and change. And, the Search Console team themselves actually advocate for this exact approach. They've explicitly said they wish people wouldn't look at it as a static inventory. Instead, it's great to look for patterns and things that are completely unexpected. Basically, Google wants you to ask yourself a very simple question. Is the site doing what I actually expect it to do? Or is it throwing a pattern at me that I didn't plan for? Moving on. Section 2, expected patterns. Look for expected changes. Let's imagine you just did some spring cleaning on your site. You deleted an old product category from your e-commerce store, and suddenly your report shows this massive steep spike in 404 errors. I mean, it's panic time, right? Is your SEO totally doomed because your site is throwing all these errors? Actually, not at all. As it turns out, an expected error just means the search engine is accurately processing the exact change you wanted it to see. A 404 simply means a page is gone. And if you intended for it to be gone, then honestly, a 404 is the system working perfectly. The search engine is just catching up to your intentional changes. Let's look at some of these expected migration and content patterns. So if you execute a site move, you should absolutely expect a steep rise in redirects. That is a perfectly healthy pattern. If you remove categories, well, you expect 404s. You might even see canonical shifts. For example, if you've got the super long URL, but everyone on the internet links to a shorter, cleaner version of it, Google might just decide, hey, we're going to make the shorter one the canonical version. Totally normal. And if you launch a new section, expect temporary data delays before it's actually indexed. Now here's the real secret. If you do a site move or delete a bunch of content and you don't see these patterns pop up in your report, well, that is when you should actually be worried that something hasn't been processed. All right. Section 3, server trend lines. Deciphering the data. When you're looking at the trend lines in your report, you're really looking for the story of your server stability. Look, computers don't always work perfectly. A tiny horizontal blip that might just mean a brief server hiccup, a DNS lookup failure, or maybe just regular maintenance. The internet is literally built to retry, but a steep continuous upward line. Yeah, that indicates a systemic failure that is absolutely not fixing itself. When you do see that scary line going straight up, you want to follow these steps to troubleshoot the root cause rather than just blindly guessing. First up, check your server logs for persistent 500 level errors to see if your server is genuinely struggling. Step 2, investigate if your content delivery network, your CDN, or your host suddenly decided to activate bot protection. And third, once you actually resolve the systemic issue, that is when you use the Mark as Fix button. It's not some magic wand to make the error go away. It's a signal to Google that says, hey, I actually fixed a real problem here. Please trigger a faster recrawl. Let's dive into section 4, systemic bot blocks, diagnosing host issues. Before we talk about bots, we really have to talk about the truth. Often people type cite yourdomain.com right into Google and they see all these old URLs popping up completely contradicting what their search console is telling them. So who do you actually trust here? Your own two eyes on the Google search page or the back-end data? Always trust your search console data. Those site queries are entirely artificial. When you do a site search, you're basically forcing Google to dig through its absolute deepest memory banks. It can completely trick you into thinking a migration failed by surfacing these cached legacy URLs literally years after a proper move. Your search console is your ultimate source of truth for what's actually happening in the index. Now, relying on that true data, let's look at how your own hosting setup might actually be sabotaging you. Say your CDN turns on heavy bot protection. It might start serving mass 403 or 404 errors to Google, which drops legitimate pages out of the index entirely. But honestly, the absolute worst is the interstitial. You know those pages that pop up and say, "Are you a bot?" If your host serves that page to Google with the 200 OK status code, Google thinks that is your actual content. It'll then take your beautifully written product page and deduplicate it against every other random page on the internet, showing that exact same "Are you a bot?" message. It completely ruins your SEO, and it does it all silently in the background. Moving to our final diagnostic phase, Section 5, assess true quality, overall site quality. So what does it mean when you see that dreaded status crawled, currently not indexed? Well, it means Google knows your page exists. It actually spent the resources to visit it, crawl it, and read it. But then it just flat out refused to put it in the search index. Why on earth would it do that? This status is often a silent judgment on your content's uniqueness and overall value rather than some technical bug. As John Mueller points out, when you see a big pattern of pages being crawled but dropped, and you know there's no CDN block or technical reason, you almost need to take a step back. You have to take off your creator hat for a second and objectively ask yourself, is this actually good content? Because Google isn't just reading your text, they're assessing the entire user experience. Here are some major red flags that trigger that crawled currently not indexed pattern. Heavy reliance on generic AI-generated content that literally anyone could have published. Core text hidden behind overwhelming ads. Aggressive pop-ups that make the user's computer fan spin like a jet engine. Or just endless filler content, like those recipe blogs that give you a 10-page backstory before you even see the ingredients. A sluggish ad-heavy page with generic content simply isn't worth Google's resources to index, even if the code itself is technically perfect. And just to prove that you really shouldn't panic over pure volume, let's look at the perfectly healthy Google developer documentation site. It is a massive, highly successful site, yet, and prepare for a reality check here, a whopping 95% of its pages are intentionally not indexed. Only 5% are actually in the index. They have tons of old APIs and redundant code samples that simply don't need to be cluttering up search results. There's absolutely no magic ratio. The percentage of indexed versus non-indexed pages on your site is definitely not a quality score. As long as your core high-value digital product pages, the ones you actually care about, are indexed, having millions of non-indexed URLs in your reports is perfectly fine. It just means the system is doing its job of filtering out all the noise. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today's explainer. Take a hard look at your own workflow. Are you endlessly chasing static errors just to make a dashboard turn green? Or are you actively using these patterns to build undeniable quality? It's time to stop treating your Search Console data as a punishment and start using it as a detective's compass for growth. Spot those expected patterns, isolate the systemic blocks, and elevate your content quality. Continue watching to see how to build qualified leads from the data you now know how to derive from Google Search Console. Thanks for watching the video this far. I'm excited to share with you an in-depth article on how to create, share, and monetize lead magnets effortlessly, all without technical skills or expensive tools. This article dives deep into the essential steps for building an audience genuinely interested in your brand. It's designed to help you leverage the skills you already have to create and launch a profitable digital business today. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your approach, this guide offers valuable insights to set you on the right path. And one of the key topics covered is why manual outreach and legacy systems can't keep up. You will learn that speed is a vital component of lead conversion. Research shows that responding to a lead within minutes rather than hours dramatically increases the likelihood of a successful sale. The fact that manual systems lack the agility required to pivot when audience behavior changes shows how Lead Creator can address this need. The article helps you pinpoint what your audience truly needs and how your unique skills can meet those needs effectively, ensuring your product stands out in a crowded market. Next, the article explores how to craft compelling content that resonates with your audience and drives sales. It emphasizes the importance of storytelling, clarity, and authenticity in your messaging. You'll learn techniques to create content that not only educates but also emotionally connects with your potential customers. This approach helps build trust and encourages engagement, which are essential for transforming interest into actual purchases. Another vital aspect discussed is effective packaging, how to present your knowledge in a captivating way that appeals to your target market. Alongside this, the article outlines strategies for building a marketing plan that truly connects with the eager buyers. It covers everything from branding and positioning to choosing the right channels for promotion. These insights empower you to showcase your digital product's value clearly and attract the right audience consistently. Finally, the article addresses the challenges new creators often face and offers advice on staying motivated and focused throughout the journey. Launching a digital product can be demanding, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can overcome obstacles and keep progressing. This section provides encouragement and practical tips to help you maintain momentum and achieve long-term success. So go ahead and click on the link below to get started today and turn your ideas into impactful digital products.